After the edging is completed, let's learn how to crochet the side pieces. The left and right sides are identical. Both involve joining the yarn using the chain of slip stitches. First, work back and forth. After completing, add the border. Finally, sew it onto the main piece. I will explain using any one side as an example. Please watch the demonstration. Take the corresponding yarn and the fabric piece that was crocheted earlier. Find the last reverse single crochet stitch position. There are 2 strands of yarn behind it. These 2 strands form the chain of slip stitches. Pick up the first chain and join the yarn. Make 3 chains as the beginning chain. This counts as 1 double crochet, then pick the braid from the left side slip stitch. Correspondingly make a double crochet. Continue until you reach the short stitch, with 3 single crochets in 1 stitch, the 2 slip stitches above. At the ending position, you can add 1 extra stitch or skip 1 stitch. Just don't go past the reverse single crochet stitch position. Leave roughly the same gap on both sides. As long as it looks nice. That completes the first row. For the following rows, use the same crocheting method as section 1 of the main part. Alternate between 1 row of single crochets and 1 row of double crochets. Everyone follow the chart to finish the remaining rows. Finally, fasten off the yarn. Next, let's work on the edging. My sample has fewer rows for demonstration purposes. I'm just showing the technique. Find the first joining spot for the yarn. Join the yarn here. Make 1 beginning chain. Work 2 single crochets into the left side of the beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet into the adjacent single crochet row. Continue all the way down the side edge. Once completed, rotate the piece. Pick up the last row of stitches and work single crochets evenly without increasing or decreasing. Continue all the way across the row. When you're done, rotate the piece again. Work single crochets along the side edge of the fabric piece. The number of single crochets should be the same as on the other side. Finally, fasten off the yarn. Thread the reserved yarn into a darning needle. At the insertion point of the last stitch of the first row, sew a few stitches to secure it properly. Finally, weave in the ends. That concludes the explanation of crocheting the border. Next, take a yarn in the same color as the edging. Thread it into a yarn needle. Sew the edge of the border to the slip stitch positions on the main piece. Use the backstitch method to sew them together. This way, the stitches won't be too visible on the surface. That's how you finish sewing one side. Make sure to sew the other side as well. That concludes the explanation of one side of the fabric piece. For the other side of the side edge piece, follow this demonstration and refer to the chart while crocheting. The stitch count and row count for both side pieces are identical. That concludes the explanation of the method for crocheting the side edge pieces. Next, we'll learn how to make the white magnolia. It consists of the flower, the bud, the leaves, and assembly. Follow the sequence to make them. Let's start with the flower. Use the chain stitch to cast on. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. First, crochet the first 4 rounds. Then move on to the small petals. After that, crochet round 5. Finally, crochet the large petals. The new stitches used include single crochet increase and CH1SL picket. Please watch the demonstration. Take the corresponding yarn. Start by leaving 15 centimeters. Then make one beginning chain. Crochet the first round. Chain 1 as beginning chain. Crochet 6 single crochets into the second chain from the hook. Since there are fewer stitches, please flip the right side out in advance. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. Bring the reserved yarn tail to the front. That's how you complete the first round. Now let's move on to the second round. Chain 1 as beginning chain. For this round, work single crochets into each stitch from the previous round. Work even. Finally, join with a slip stitch. That completes the second round. Now let's move on to the third round. Chain 1 as beginning chain. Crochet 1 single crochet into each stitch below. Make a single crochet increase. A single crochet increase means crocheting 2 single crochets into the same stitch. That completes the single crochet increase. Next, you'll follow the pattern of crocheting 1 single crochet first, then making a single crochet increase. Repeat this pattern for 2 groups. That completes the third round. Continue to the fourth round. For this round, work evenly. Finally, join with a slip stitch. Don't cut the yarn. Enlarge the loop. Take out the crochet hook. Next, we will crochet small petals. This round involves crocheting into the back loops of the fourth round. Pick up the strand of yarn behind the first stitch. That is, crochet the strand that is farther away from you. After joining the yarn, start with the stem first. Crochet 8 chain stitches. Then, starting from the second to last stitch, crochet 7 single crochets in sequence. That completes one stem. Next, pick the back loops of the fourth round, and crochet 3 slip stitches in order. Then crochet another stem, which means crocheting 8 chain stitches. Then, starting from the second to last stitch, crochet 7 single crochets in sequence. That completes another stem. Then again, pick the back loops of the fourth round, and crochet 3 slip stitches in sequence. Finally, crochet 1 more stem. After completing it, crochet 2 slip stitches. Then, at the joining position of the first stitch, crochet 1 slip stitch. After completing it, start crocheting the petals. Pick up the other 2 strands from the remaining chain stitches on the left stem, crochet 2 slip stitches in sequence. Then 1 single crochet. Then 1 half double crochet. Then 2 double crochets. Then 1 half double crochet. Then pick up any few strands from the top on the left side. Crochet 2 single crochets. Pay attention not to insert the hook into the single crochet stitch on the left side. After completing, crochet 1 ch1sl picket. First, chain 1. Then pick up the front loop of the single crochet, and 1 strand from the left side. Crochet 1 slip stitch. This completes the ch1sl picket. At the insertion point for the single crochet, crochet another single crochet. Then pick up the single crochet stitch on the left and crochet 1 half double crochet. Then 2 double crochets. Then 1 half double crochet. 1 single crochet. 2 slip stitches. And that completes 1 petal. Skip 1 stitch on the left. Pick up the adjacent slip stitch chain, and crochet 1 slip stitch. Skip 1 stitch. Crochet 1 petal on the stem on the left. That is, first pick up the other 2 strands of the left chain. Crochet 2 slip stitches in sequence. And 1 single crochet. 1 half double crochet. 2 double crochets. 1 half double crochet. Then pick up any number of strands from the top on the left and crochet 2 single crochets. Mind not to insert into the stitch of the left single crochet. After completing, crochet 1 ch1sl picket. First crochet 1 chain. Then pick up the front loop of the single crochet, and 1 strand on the left. Crochet 1 slip stitch. And that completes the ch1sl picket. Crochet 1 single crochet in the insertion position of the single crochet. Then pick up the left single crochet stitch, and crochet 1 half double crochet. 2 double crochets. 1 half double crochet. 1 single crochet. 2 slip stitches. And that completes another petal. Skip 1 stitch on the left. Pick up the adjacent slip stitch chain, and crochet 1 slip stitch. Skip 1 stitch, crochet 1 petal on the left stem. After completing it, skip 1 stitch and crochet 1 slip stitch. Do not join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. And that completes the small petal. Enlarge the loop. Take out the hook. Insert the hook into the enlarged loop in front. Adjust the loop size. Next, let's crochet the 5th round. Make 1 beginning chain. Pick up the front loops and work single crochets evenly. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. After completing the 5th round, let's move on to crochet the large petals. Insert the hook into the enlarged loop. Follow the same crocheting method as for the small petals, just with a different number of stitches. Enlarge the loop and take out the hook. Pass the fabric through the loop. Tighten it slightly. Insert the hook into the last stitch of the 5th round. Draw the yarn through. After completing, everyone follows the pattern chart to finish crocheting the large petals. Pay attention to picking up stitches for crocheting. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Cut the yarn and weave in the ends. That's how you complete one flower. Cut a 20 cm piece of wire. Take 2 wool beads and thread them on. Here, because the yarn is too thick, we use other beads as substitutes. Fold it in half. Twist it slightly. And then pass it through the center of the flower. Tidy it up. Only one bead needs to show on the surface. Everyone, follow this method to crochet the remaining number of flowers. Next, let's learn how to make the flower buds. Use the chain stitch to start. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The new stitch technique used is single crochet decrease. Please watch the demonstration. The crocheting method for the first 7 rounds. Follow the crocheting method used in the first 4 rounds of the flower. Crochet according to the flower bud chart instruction. Pay attention to color changes. I've already crocheted this part in advance. Add a little waste yarn inside. Now let's crochet the 8th round. Make 1 beginning chain. The first stitch is a single crochet decrease. Insert the hook into the first stitch and draw the yarn through. Then insert the hook into the second stitch and draw the yarn through. Finally, yarn over once and pull through. This completes the single crochet decrease. Continue with 1 single crochet decrease on the left side. First, pick up the adjacent 2 stitches on the left and draw the yarn through. Finally, yarn over once and pull through. This completes another single crochet decrease. The rest of the stitches are single crochet decreases. After completing, leave a long yarn tail at the end. Insert the sewing needle. Pick up the front loops of the stitches and pass through sequentially. Finally, tighten slightly. This closes up the opening. This completes the crocheting method for the flower bud. Everyone finish the remaining flower buds. Next, learn to crochet the leaves. Use the chain stitch for casting on. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Please watch the demonstration. Get the yarn. Start with 8 chain stitches. Move on to the first round. Work 1 chain as beginning chain. From the second to last stitch from your hook, pick up 1 strand on the top of the chains and work 2 single crochets. 3 half double crochets. 2 double crochets. Then work 3 double crochets in the last chain. One CH1SL picket. Work 3 more double crochets in the same position. Crochet while rotating the piece. After completing, pick up the other 2 strands of the chain and work 2 double crochets. Be mindful not to insert into the same spot as the previous 6 stitches. Work 3 half double crochets. Two single crochets. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. That concludes the leaf pattern. Leave a 15 cm tail and cut the yarn. Everyone follow this method to crochet the remaining number of leaves. For the small leaves, use the same crochet technique as the large leaves. Refer to the small leaf pattern chart for crocheting. That concludes the leaf crochet technique. Next, we will assemble. Start by assembling the smaller parts. Take one bud and a 20 cm wire. Pass the wire through the bottom of the bud. There's no specific requirement for the method, as long as it passes through, that's fine. Fold in half. Use the reserved yarn from the bud to wrap for a short distance. About 0.5 centimeters. Secure with glue. Then take the thread for the flower stem, and wrap around the wire for about 2 centimeters. At the same time, take one small leaf and wrap it together. Use glue to secure both the start and the ending. Once completed, set it aside for later use. Repeat this process to make 2 more. Note that for one of them, do not add a small leaf. And wrap 1.5 centimeters of the stem thread at the bottom. For the other one, add a small leaf. Wrap 1 centimeter of the stem thread at the bottom. I've already prepared these in advance. Next, take one flower and one leaf to assemble. There are 4 in total that need to be assembled. For 2 of them, add one large leaf below and wrap for 0.5 centimeters. Then wrap 1 centimeter below with the stem thread. For the other one, directly take a leaf from below, and wrap the stem thread for 2.5 centimeters. The last one involves taking a large leaf and adding it. And wrap for 0.5 centimeters. I've already prepared these ahead of time. Next, let's assemble the flower branches that need to be inserted into the palace badge. Take the flower with 0.5 centimeters wrapped at the bottom. And take one flower bud without leaves. Combine them together. Wrap 3 centimeters at the bottom and secure with glue. This is a demonstration larger than size 35. Then cut off the excess wire. After completing, set it aside for later use. Next, let's install the flower branches on the flower window. Take one flower bud with 2 centimeters wrapped at the bottom. And take one flower with 1 centimeter wrapped at the bottom. Combine them and wrap together for 3.5 centimeters at the bottom. Take one flower with 1 centimeter wrapped at the bottom. Take one flower bud and one small leaf. Wrap for 0.5 centimeters at the bottom. Add the branch you just wrapped, and one more leaf. Place the branch and the leaf on the left and right respectively. Continue wrapping for a little over 1 centimeter. Then take one flower with 2.5 centimeters wrapped at the bottom. And take one flower bud with 1 centimeter wrapped at the bottom. Add one more leaf and wrap for about 0.5 centimeters. Next, add the branch you just wrapped. Continue wrapping for 2.5 centimeters. Finally, secure it with glue. Cut off the excess wire and thread. Wait for the glue to dry completely. Place it on the flower window. Adjust the direction of the branches according to the finished product picture. Secure these 4 positions with glue first. If you're worried about it falling, you can secure it with a few stitches of same color thread. The bottom part of the flower branch should be placed on the wrong side of the flower window. There's no need to leave too much length. Also, secure it slightly with thread. Below, I will demonstrate the method for securing. Pick up the surface threads to secure. Pay attention to not letting the stitches show on the right side. This is the securing method. Below, I will demonstrate the method for securing the flowers. The position here is not for reference. It also involves picking up the surface threads to secure the flowers. Try not to let the stitches show on the wrong side. This is the method for securing the flowers. That concludes the explanation of how to make the magnolia. The remaining magnolias will be used to make bookmarks. Set them aside for now as backup. Next, we'll learn how to make bookmarks and sew palace marks. Start by sewing the palace mark. Sew it on the lower left side of the book cover. And leave the top part unsewn. Only sew these 3 sides. Cut a piece of thread, insert it into the needle, and fold it in half. Tie a knot at the end. And secure the tail. Pay attention that the palace mark should be sewn on the right side. Don't get the direction wrong. Sew along the brown stitches of the palace mark. You can sew by picking up the threads from the main bodice surface. Finally, tie off and weave in the ends. That concludes the palace mark section. Next, place the flower branch at the palace mark position. Then proceed to make the bookmark. The thin cord on top is crocheted using a hanging thread chain stitch method. Refer to the chart and crochet to the corresponding length. Below, I will provide a crocheting method. Everyone learns the method first, then proceed with the crocheting. Below, I will demonstrate the method for crocheting chain stitches with a hanging thread. Leave a yarn tail about 3 times the desired length of the thin cord at the front. Hold the yarn with your left hand. The reserved yarn tail should be below. Start by making a knot first. Then, place the reserved yarn from front to back over the crochet hook. Yarn over the hook. Draw the yarn through the loop and the hanging thread. The first stitch is complete. Place the yarn tail below from front to back over the crochet hook again. Continue crocheting. Yarn over the hook. Draw the yarn through. Repeat the process of hanging and crocheting the yarn. Once you reach the desired length, leave a yarn tail, cut the yarn. If sewing is needed, leave the yarn tail a bit longer. After completing the chain stitches, then proceed with assembly. First, take a bud and sew it onto one end of the chain. Take the single yarn tail that is reserved from the chain. Insert it into your sewing needle. There's no specific requirement for the sewing method. Just make sure it's secured tightly. Tie off and weave in the ends neatly. Then tuck any remaining yarn into the fabric. Next, sew a small leaf below. Then, sew a flower at a slight distance from the previous piece. After completing it, take the D-ring and pass it through. On the other end, sew a bud and a large leaf, a bud and a large leaf, sew a bud and a large leaf on the other end. Secure it at a certain distance. Tie off and weave in the ends neatly. Next, take the flat side of the D-ring and sew it onto the centered position of the folded book cover. And sew it onto the eave. Below, I'll demonstrate the sewing method using this small one as an example. The position is not for reference. First, cut a piece of yarn and thread it through the needle. Secure the yarn tail on the fabric. Pass through the D-ring and start sewing. Pay attention not to sew onto the cord. Everyone should sew this flat side. Sew firmly until it's fully stuffed. Finally, tie off and weave in the ends. This way, the bookmark is assembled. Next, tie a knot on the cord. Then take out the blush. Apply it in small amounts multiple times on the flowers and buds. Up to this point, the entire product has been fully explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website, Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.